Well, folks, that's it. We are at the last Friday forecast of the year. We don't have a huge slate to talk about. We don't have too many games to talk about. In fact, we only have one. We've got one more game left, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. One more game, and then we can go. What is? Oh, my phone is buzzing. Why is my phone buzzing? Oh, okay, that's why my phone is buzzing. Okay. Well, now that the phone is buzzed, and now that we've broken the tension of more game, the last game of the year, what are we going to do? Let's just go ahead. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Friday Forecast, everybody. And welcome, everybody, to the Friday Forecast here on Stay Tuned Sports. It's your boy King hanging out with here, pissing off Crafty in the chat already, as he just hates the intros. He hates the live stream countdown, which is not an intro. It's a live stream countdown. You gotta knock it off, Crafty. Okay? You really. There are nuances to this, man. There are nuances, man. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Friday Forecast. If you like anything about this channel, and I don't know why you would, please go ahead, hit that like button, hit that share button, let the world know that we exist. That's a huge, huge help for us here. And, of course, as always, if you haven't done so yet, or you're brand new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and hopefully being monetized here on a great and glorious platform known as YouTube. Crafty letting us know in the chat that we have now hit back to 300 subs. We have been ping-ponging between 299 and 300 for the last couple of days and weeks, if you will. So that's fine. That's fine. That's great. I like it. Either way, slow and steady progress. You know, we're like that little mountain climber from Price is Right. You know, yo lady, hoo, yo lady, hoo. You know, we're just on that upward trajectory, man. That's what we're doing here. I got to be careful. I got to make sure the angle of which I do this is, might anger a lot of people, might not. I don't know. You got to be real careful with that. If you want to help us out a little bit more directly, we have a link for our donation station and our merch store in the chat, top of the chat, actually. If you can go check out the chat right now or in the description below. If you go to the chat, make sure that you click on either live chat or I think it's all messages instead of top messages if you're on mobile, just so that you can see everybody's message in the chat and know what's actually going on and what people are goddamn talking about, because that's the other thing too. So here it is. We are Super Bowl Friday. We are just 2 days away, less than 2 days away now. We are less than 48 hours away from the start. Or no, we're just about around 48 hours. We're 49-ish hours, 48 plus now, because the game's kicking off at 6:30. So either way, we're roughly about 2 days away from the Super Bowl kicking off here, which you can follow along right here on Stay Tuned Sports. We'll be with you, and we'll even have our own little halftime extravaganza. Halftime show? Nay. It's a halftime extravaganza, ladies and gentlemen. So I certainly hope that you stay tuned with us during the halftime, in case you don't want to watch the other one, and that's fine. Listen, if you want to watch it, there's nothing wrong. We want to watch the Super Bowl halftime show. People have done it for years, millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of people, from Michael Jackson to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers to Prince, probably one of the best ones, to the Rolling Stones have done it. Obviously, everybody remembers Timberlake and old Janet Jackson, the old titty pop out. So you want to do that, that's fine. But if you are looking for an alternative to your halftime festivities, something to watch while you're taking a whiz, taking a dump, getting a drink, whatever it may be, Stay Tuned Sports. They're going to be here for you. So thank you so much for joining. Either way, so yeah, game's on the way here. I saw this before, and I was actually surprised by this, that, this is the first Super Bowl ever in which both teams lost their first game of the year. And I don't know if you remember, the Seahawks lost to the Niners in an absolute classic opening day game, where I think it was a Bosa sack strip fumble at the end of the game that ended up stopping the Seahawks. So the Seahawks were driving. Darnold and the Seahawks were driving. They were in the red zone. There might have been even a goal-to-go situation. And the Niners were able to stop them along with Bosa. And then there was the Patriots who lost to the Raiders. You look back on that now, it's like, okay, but how? It's like, it's one of those anomalies. Again, it was Vrabel's first game in New England. Everybody's maybe just trying to get used to everybody, get used to the situation there in New England. But yeah, so you had that. Didn't they lose to Pittsburgh too earlier in the year as well? Did New England? Yeah, I mean there was you look back on it, it's like as you got later on in the season, yeah, it started to look like the Patriots that we see now here that did make the Super Bowl. The Seahawks became maybe the best team in the NFL, as we did see in the towards the end of the year. But starting off, man, it was not all sunshine and roses for both of these teams. ELS in the chat. Great to see you, ELS. Thank you so much for joining us. He says, P.S. I'm in a car heading to a college hockey game for tonight. Go Green Knights. Who are the Green Knights? Who's doing there? I have no idea. That's the Crafty. I thought so. Yeah, Darnold got hit and fumbled by Bosa while they were in the red zone with a chance to go up to score at the end of that game. That was great. That week 1 game was great. It was so good. I remember it. That's the thing. ELS says that the game is Lake Forest versus St. Norbert, the St. Norbert Green Knights. I'm guessing it's either high school hockey or something like that, so that'll be due. Either way, go Knights, go Green Knights, hey. And best of luck there. Crafty says, yes, the Pats lost to Pittsburgh in a turnover field before. Now, I remember that one. That, too, was also turnovers all over the place. He says, you should do a halftime intro fest. No. Now, there is an intro to the halftime extravaganza. There is. But it's a short one, Crafty. It's not like a minute or 2 minutes, so you'll be fine. In fact, I think it's about 6 seconds of an intro. So you'll survive. You'll make it. In fact, there might even be, from what I've heard, from one of the artists that I've talked to, they might even do a little shout-out to Crafty and his constant use of dad jokes. That might be something that is in the halftime show somewhere. So you're going to have to keep an ear out and see if you can find out where that is, because there's some interesting stuff out there. But yeah, the halftime show I think is going to be fun. The Stay Tuned Sports halftime show is going to be fun. As far as the Apple Music halftime show, I don't know. We'll see. I bet you. I'm going to bet you. Most of the reviews of it, most of the way people think about it or see it, is probably going to fall on political lines. If we're going to be honest with each other. So I think even if people don't like it, if they are of a particular political persuasion, they're going to say, that sucked, I hated it. And the same with the other way. You might have somebody who actually enjoyed watching it, but because of their particular political persuasion, they're going to go online and be like, this is terrible. This is the worst thing, whatever. This is terrible. So you're not going to find probably a lot of honest takes about the halftime show that'll be coming up. And that's fine. That's fine, whatever. But I said, who wants to deal with that? Who wants to maybe deal with all of that problem, all that pressure, all that political nonsense in the middle of a halftime show when you just want to have fun? You just want to have some good times with friends and family and enjoy your football viewing experience. Why can't we just have that? Again, America, why can't we just have that? So, if that's what you're looking for, Stay Tuned Sports Halftime Show will be here for you. Crafty says, is it 2 minutes of flashing signs that says F Crafty? Never, Crafty. I love you. You know that. So, looking over just some of the information that we have here. Seahawks, again, I'm probably, as we said, ELS in here, he said, since he's in the car on his way to a hockey game right now, he says his pick for the Super Bowl is going to be the Seahawks. He's putting it in there right now. The Seahawks, they did lead the NFL in drop back success rate with 53.4% of their passes being completed on dropbacks. Is that right? No, that's defense. Oh. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. On a dropback success rate, they had a 53.4% success rate, and their scoring defense was amongst the top in the NFL. Running back Kenneth Walker, I'm trying to read. This is weirdly worded. I don't know, man. ESPN's weird. ESPN's weird. Uh, Either way, they're giving betting advice. That's not what I'm looking for. I was looking for actual stats. And that didn't work out there. Crafty in the chat says Bad Bunny walked back his learned Spanish approach and now says people just need to dance and enjoy it. The problem is you can't put that genie back in the bottle, Crafty. Like I understand. Like now you got to try to do spin control for a lot of the stuff that he has said and done in the last weeks and months leading up to this. Because at the end of the day, you're going to want. The reason you do these halftime shows and try to get the big names and do things like that is to get the advertisers to buy in, to get viewership to buy in, because people are going to watch and it's going to be a big thing. By doing this, and I think it goes either way, if you're far too political, whether it's left, right, center, whatever. I think when you make things political, when you make things preachy, people tune out. Not everybody, but people do tune out. And that puts advertisers on edge. That puts the network on edge. That puts Apple on edge. That puts the NFL on edge. So now he's got to come out here and walk back some of the comments and do all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. That's PR work. You got to do what you got to do. You have a PR by public relations, not PR as in Puerto Rican, because he is from Puerto Rico. It's not what we're talking about. Fucking relax. I know people out there are going to say, he said PR like a racist. I know that's... And this is what I mean. It's like we're already into this point now where we're trying to talk about the halftime show or talk about the Super Bowl, and now we're getting into this almost like a political back and forth with other people. It's like that's bullshit, man. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We've obviously most people who are artists, most people in the music industry in Hollywood, that kind of thing, are usually going to be left or left leaning. But for the most part, those things have been, political wise, been left out of halftime performances or not. A couple times it hasn't. Beyonce, I think, did something like that a couple of halftimes ago, and that obviously didn't go over well with a lot of people, and understandably so. And that's what I mean. It's like then you cause division, then you cause problems, and nobody wants that. Nobody from the league, nobody from Apple, nobody from NBC or whoever the network would be. Like nobody wants to deal with that. So, I mean, it's good that he's walking back the statements, but the damage there is already done. Like we already got an idea of how he's going to present the halftime show. So if you're there's going to be a lot of people who don't tune into it. That is what it is. Crafty says the Seahawks have one Achilles heel, and that's the interior of their offensive line. The Patriots pass rush is gonna bring the heat right up the middle. Yeah, I agree. And also on to the halftime show. That'll be the last thing about the halftime show. Crafty says it would have been nice, a nice and reasonable approach to have right from the jump, instead of essentially telling everybody to get stuffed or go pound sand. Yeah, I agree. And that's what I mean. It's like, for me, it feels like it's a little too late to put that genie back in the bottle from what he did. And from that standpoint, like I understand maybe where he was coming from, kind of being a little frustrated at that point, hearing people being like, he doesn't sing English. He doesn't speak English. Why do we care? This guy, like, he got a little defensive and said, well, went out that far. And that's fine. Like, again, I understand having that initial knee-jerk reaction of, somebody's talking shit. I got to go at him. I get it. But if you're trying to sell something like this, it's best not to do that, which is why you usually have people around you to kind of talk you down from that ledge. He didn't have that. And so now we're kind of in this situation where we are, which now it just further the flames that were there and the talk and the controversy around it. And I'm sure there will be people who tune in for the controversy. I'm sure there's people who are going to tune out because of it. So we'll see what the ratings are. I bet you they'll be good. I mean, it's the Super Bowl, so it's still going to be good. And you'll have people from across the world watching, obviously, in Latin America and like I said, across the world, in Europe, Asia, everywhere else. So I think he's the most streamed artist in China right now. Which is interesting. But yeah, so I mean, it's going to get watched. It's not like there's going to be nobody watching. But again, it feels like it could have been better. And it could have been handled better by him. There could have been better artists, according to some people. There might have been better choices to be made from everybody in this whole process. But it is what it is. And if you want to watch it, you can watch it. And if not, you can watch the Stay Tuned Sports halftime extravaganza coming up Sunday at halftime of Super Bowl 60. Crafty Val says the biggest weakness for the Patriots is that Drake May doesn't feel pressure from his blind side. We have noticed that he does take a lot of hits. If you watch that Charger game, the Charger playoff game, like the Chargers got after him, which is how he's been stripped, fumbled so many times in the span of just a couple games. He did get better in controlling the ball and doing that, but I agree, and that is something that we have seen. If you can get after him, and Seattle's defense can get after you, that's going to be something to watch. Can Drake May start picking up that blindside pressure? I doubt it. It's not like it's not going to come to him all of a sudden in 2 weeks, but it has come to him all year. I think instead of looking for that, like, oh my God, he's going to be able to pick it up. I think what you need to look for is, will he be able to secure the ball? Will he be able to know enough to just hold on to it, keep it tight, or is it gonna run into that? And I think that's a very legitimate concern, Crafty. So thank you for bringing that up. I think that's an extremely legitimate concern for the Patriots. Because if that happens early in the game with the Seahawks defense that we know is very good, if that happens early on in the game, puts the Patriots behind the 8 ball, they get down 7, 10, 14 points early on in the game. We've seen that with the Seahawks before, with the Niners. They just, once they got ahead, they ran away with it. Goodbye, see you later, Susan. Like you're not gonna see anything. So will that compound there, or will the Patriots be able to get some protection for May? Will they scheme around that? Maybe quick throws, a lot of slants, maybe a lot of screens, reverses. Maybe a couple trick plays here or there. It is the Super Bowl. Empty the bag. See what you got. I don't know if that's 1,000% Vrabel, but I wouldn't count him out as far as, not just like a flea flicker either. You might be seeing. I think you'll see a lot of stuff. You'll probably see. I bet you. And again, this might be a prop bet somewhere. Who knows? If I had money, I might bet on it. I might put a little sprinkle on it. As far as like a fake punt. It feels like if you're going to do a fake punt, this might be the game where it happens. That you might go off with everything. You might try to do it. I think back to the Saints back in Super Bowl 44, where they started the second half with the onside kick. Obviously, you can't do that anymore. But don't be surprised if I think you see some of that stuff. So we'll see. Betty says, my prediction is going to be an ugly, low-scoring defensive battle. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. But we'll see, Crafty. We'll see what happens. I would say that the Seahawks are right now probably the more complete team. I don't think that's an argument. People can bring up the fact about the Patriots' schedule. They had an easy schedule. They didn't really play anybody. They what an easy path to the Super Bowl. And then they get to the AFC Championship game, and they're playing against a backup, and then it snows, and oh, my God, they shouldn't be playing in weather. Oh, my God, it's the worst thing in the world to do as a football player is play in weather. Oh, no. I'm not willing to say that. I think the Patriots are here because they deserve to be here. Listen, you can only beat the teams that are in front of you. And yeah, last year they were 4-13, and then this year they're 14-3. Like you do a 10-game turnaround with essentially the same team, and the only real difference being the coach and the coaching staff. And to have a 10-game difference, that's more than just schedule. That is more than just schedule. But I think objectively, we can still sit here and say, even as much as I respect the Patriots and their turnaround and how they got here, I think, apples to apples, dollars to donuts, as they say. I don't know where they say that, but they do. That the Seahawks are the more complete team. Offense, defense, special teams, especially special teams. Rashid Shaheed might be the best trade deadline pickup in the last couple of years that I've seen for the Seahawks, getting him from the Saints. And he has paid dividends, a ton of dividends, especially there in the divisional round, opening the game off with a touchdown return, and they never looked back from there. He's been a huge catalyst for them. So I think that's pretty good. And again, back to Crafty's point, I really do believe that maybe the biggest X factor in this game is indeed the Patriots' offensive line. Can they hold that Seahawks defense? Can they protect Drake May, keep his blind side clean? And if you're able to keep his uniform clean, if you're able to keep him off the ground, if you're able to keep him from getting just smacked from behind and losing his balls, I think you can. I think you can do that. Rocky Walsh. Rocky Walsh Cat. That's a cool name. Thank you, Rocky, for joining us here in the chat. He says, looks like an AFC championship game. Do you mean you think it's going to look like that? You think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, like that kind of 10-7, 10-17 kind of situation here? Again, Crafty thinks that as well, so we'll see. Crafty says, a couple of standout stats for the Patriots. They set a new record for road wins. We know they've gone undefeated on the road, which is a reason why even though they're designated the home team, they will be wearing their white uniforms because they're kind of embracing that whole road warrior thing, kind of like the Giants did back in 2007. And he says they overcame 3 top 5 defenses on their way to the Super Bowl. And that's what I mean. For everybody bringing up the fact that Denver, they were playing a backup quarterback and it snowed or whatever, they were still playing one of the better, if not best, defense in the NFL, maybe outside of Seattle. But even the Texans, that was it. The Patriots beat the Texans as well. And again, Stroud didn't have his best game, but that defense that Houston has is a very good defense, and the Patriots were still able to beat them. And Drake May was still able to have a good enough game. Like, they were able to have a good enough game. They were able to be good enough against the Broncos, even with all those situations in front of them, against one of the better defenses in the NFL, with the snow, with everything like that. They were able to make the plays to come out on top where the Broncos didn't. And again, I think the Broncos would be in this game right now if it wasn't for Sean Payton skipping over a field goal attempt earlier in the game when there was no snow, when there was no wind, and it would have been an easier way to get those 3 points on the board. They didn't do that. They waited until it was snowing like goddamn hell up there to go for their next field goal attempt, and by then, that ball had no chance to get across and in between the uprights. So as far as that goes, again, that goes to my point of why I'm not discrediting the Patriots at all. I'm not saying the Patriots can't win this game. I'm not saying the Patriots are a massively underrated, overrated team, or that they're undeserving, or that they're massive underdogs. Because I think they're only 4.5-point underdog as we sit here right now. Like Crafty said, them going up against 3 of the top 5 NFL defenses on their way to the Super Bowl here and beating them. That tells you all you need to know. They may not look great. The stats may not be as flashy or as nice as you'd like, but they get the job done. And at the end of the day, that's all you're looking for. And this is one game. It's not a series. It's not like the Stanley Cup Finals. It's not like the NBA Finals. It's not like the World Series where you got, if we have a bad game, we can come back and get them again. Or, we got a Game 7, which, good. Great. Game 7s are great. I love the series format. Don't get me wrong. But this is one game. You only have to be better than your opponent for one game. 60 minutes. That's it. Nothing exemplifies that more than the Giants and Patriots in 2007. By all rights, the Giants were by far the worst team in that matchup. The Patriots, undefeated, 18-0, should have mopped the floor with them. And everybody said, they don't have a chance. All you have to do is be better for one game. And I certainly think the Patriots can do that. He says, I believe the Patriots gave up less points over their 3 playoff games combined than the Seattle Seahawks did in just the NFC Championship game. And yeah, that's the thing you got to remember too, is that NFC Championship game between the Rams. And again, they went up against the NFL MVP, offensive weapons out the wazoo there for the Rams. So you can sit there and maybe argue. But to me, like some people might say, oh, well, that makes me question the Seattle defense. I don't know how good the Seattle defense is now. What that shows me, I'll look at it from the glass half full perspective. That tells me that Seattle can win any kind of game. They can blow you out. They can blow the doors off you like they did with San Francisco. They can win tight games. They can win real close games, which they did down the stretch as well. And they can kind of win in a shootout situation as well. So if that, like, it feels like they're adaptable. It feels like they're never in a spot where it's like, oh boy, defense isn't working, so let's oh no, our game plan is shot. It's like, no. It feels like that they're going to be able to do and play any kind of game that New England might give them. So if New England is able to go ahead and maybe keep Sam Darnold down, keep that offense kind of under wraps, feels like the defense will pick up the slack. It feels like, oh boy, if Drake May's having a game, he's picking them apart. It seems like Sam Darnold in that offense with Jackson Smith and Jigba and Kenneth Walker in the backfield. And you'd have Rashid Shaheed out there probably as well, that they're going to be able to keep the work on, and do all that. And the money is all on Seattle. I think I saw something where it was like 70 to 80%. It's been steady like that of the money flowing in is on Seattle on the sports books. So clearly the people are putting the money with Seattle, and I understand that, as we mentioned here before earlier on. Seattle is objectively the better team. I don't think there's a question. So, putting your money where your mouth is, as it were, with sports betting, as that is, it would make sense that Seattle's getting a lot of the play, but they're still not moving a line. Is Vegas? They're keeping it there at, again, it was started at 3.5, which I thought was low to start off with, and now it's at 4.5, which seems about right to me. 4.5 seems about right as far as the spread, and it hasn't gone up though. Like it seems like the books are fairly comfortable with it where it is. They're not trying to get more business in. It's kind of hard. Super Bowl, everybody's going to bet the Super Bowl. So it feels like they're putting the line kind of where it seems to belong. At least I think 4.5 favorite for Seattle. I think that tracks. I think that's right in the sweet spot. I think that's right where it should be. But all that being said, let's take a look. And here we have. I usually did this, and we'd have all the games, and we pick them all. And I love scrolling down, and doing that kind of stuff. Not now, baby. We've got one game Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That would be 3:30 on the Pacific. If you're out there at Santa Clara, 60 miles away from San Francisco, so far away you can't even see the city skyline due to the curvature of the earth. And that's, of course, 5:30 Central and 4:30 if you're living in the mountains, although many Denver Bronco fans may not be watching, being very upset and a little butthurt. They could be. I have no idea. But there we go. We've just talked a lot about it. We've talked about ins and outs and who's it's and what's it's and what do we think? What do we think? And that's what I mean. At the end of the day, you have two teams here that are 14-3. Two teams here. The Seattle Seahawks, they won 2 games to get here. Obviously, they were the number 1 overall seed. The Patriots had to win 3 because they missed out on the top spot to the Denver Broncos. But in that process, they were able to go ahead and beat the Houston Texans. The Los Angeles Chargers at home. Then they were able to beat the Houston Texans at home. And then they were able to go ahead and beat, granted, a backup with Jarrett Stidham, but still as one of the better defenses in the NFL, if not the best defense, in your opinion, depending on how you want to say that, against the Denver Broncos, and a very hard game to play in the AFC Championship game. They were able to do that. Hard to argue, man. It's hard to argue. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, you saw, they were able to blow out San Francisco. Their 2 games to get to the Super Bowl were against division opponents. And you know what they say? It's always hard to beat a team twice or 3 times in a year. You see a team 3 times in a year in football. That's usually hard, and you only see that happen once every now and then. But this year, it happened to the Seahawks, and it happened twice in a row. They had to play San Francisco, and then they had to play Los Angeles. And it was two different games. It was a blowout game against the Niners, and then it was a shootout back and forth there with the Rams. And again, that goes to my thought of Seattle can play almost any game. If Sam Darnold doesn't turn the ball over, it feels like this is a lock for the Seahawks. I think if you have Sam Darnold turn the ball over and Drake May doesn't, then I think you start leaning towards New England. If you have kind of a turnover fest, which can happen between these two, as we talked about with Drake May's blind side, with Sam Darnold, sometimes he has those kind of games. He hasn't had them lately, and in these big games recently, he has come up big time and big clutch. So can't really, we're not really putting that on him anymore. Again, but I think it's still a possibility that it can happen. Then you're looking at a sloppy game. And then who knows what happens. Then it could just be straight up crazy points. It could be no points. It wouldn't be boring, that's for sure. I just hope that we don't have another blowout like we had last year with the Chiefs and Eagles. That was, it sucked that the Eagles won. What sucked more is that it was boring. I certainly hope that we don't have that kind of situation happen again. But with all of that being said, 23% of the people here on the CBS Sports Picker, they are picking the New England Patriots, which puts 77% of the people, which matches right around where the betting is as well. 77% of the people are picking the Seahawks. We heard earlier from ELS in the chat room. He said he's picking the Seahawks. I know a lot of other people, they said they're picking the Seahawks. As far as I go, the official pick from King, from Stay Tuned Sports, yeah, I would love to be different. I would love to be one that goes against the grain. But it just feels like it is the Seahawks to lose. It feels like this is the Seahawks game to lose. It's their championship to lose. And I honestly don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to lose it. I think this is the culmination for them. They have felt slighted all year. They said nobody's talking about them. East Coast bias. They've had one of the best seasons in their history and in a long time, and nobody's talked about them. They won a bunch in a row or something. They were doing all this other stuff, and nobody's talking. So there's nothing worse than a team that actually is really good, who feels disrespected and feels like people aren't talking about how good they are. That's dangerous, and that's a dangerous team. So with that, I just feel like with the Seahawks defense, Sam Darnold, as long as he remains turnover free, I feel like that is the only way to go. I feel like that is the only way to pick this game, is to say the Seattle Seahawks will end up getting ring number dos and denying the Patriots ring number 7, which would then bring the Patriots all-time Super Bowl record to 6-6. This is their 12th Super Bowl for the Patriots. They have won 6, obviously. They have lost 5. They lost Super Bowl 20 to the Bears. They lost Super Bowl 31 to the Packers. They lost Super Bowl 42 to the New York Football Giants. They lost Super Bowl 46 to the New York Football Giants. And they lost Super Bowl 52 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Will this be another loss for the Patriots and bring their Super Bowl record to 6-6, or will they be the first team to hit 7? What do you think? Let us know down in the comments, in the chat. If you're watching this after the live, let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen here in this game. Again, I have picked the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks get their second ring, and there will be much Antifa rioting in Seattle in celebration. Hobo shit will be flung all over the place. It will be a party for days. The outdoor drug markets will be absolutely flooded. It's going to be a great time in Seattle. If that's your jam, baby, you're going to love it. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Your Friday forecast. King says Seattle over the Patriots. But like I said, what do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see. We'll see if your predictions come true. What do you think is the score? Okay. All right. I understand that too. All right. It was brought up to me because of this game, because it's only one game. Pick a score, King. Predict the score, King. Why not? You got nothing else to go. You pick the team that's easy. That's a 1, 2, 3. Oh, who are you picking now? Why don't you pick a score? Why don't you put some balls out on the table and predict yourself a score just like everybody else, huh? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? Okay. I will say the New England Patriots will score 23 points. I say the Seattle Seahawks will score 31. And I think the Seattle Seahawks win Super Bowl 60, 31-23. 31-23. I'm going to put it in the chat. You can copy it. I'm going to make sure that we have a record of it. Seattle, 31-23 for New England. There we go. Look at that. I got it. Yeah. It's in the chat. It's official. So there you go. Not only do I say the Seahawks will win, I say they will win 31-23. That'll be an 8-point victory there for the Seattle Seahawks. So if you bet on Seattle with the points, you're still going to win, baby. I think it's 4.5. Yeah. So Seattle's 4.5. So you'll cover, baby. They'll win. I think you'll cover. I think it'll be fine. And then you have all the prop bets. But, please, gamble responsibly or just don't do it. Especially if you don't have the money. It's not worth it. If you put a couple sprinkles on some prop bets, that's fun. That's fine. That's all great. Just make sure you can pay your bills. Make sure you can pay your mortgage. Make sure you can feed yourself and your family, your children, your wife, however it is. Don't bet stupidly. And if you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But yeah, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it. That's going to do it here. I'm going to figure out what the hockey schedule is as far as the Olympics. Obviously, we'll be doing some of that. I'm going to see if I actually do some of the curling as well. I know they're doing the mixed curling tournament right now. I want to find a way how I can translate the curling over to here without actually showing it because I'll get murdered on the rights. But I want to see if there's a way that I can kind of set it up and show like where the shots are, where the stones are, see like if we can have something like that. Because if we can do that, I think that'll be great. But until then, and again, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe if something strikes me, maybe if some of the curling strikes me there tomorrow, I'll do something on tomorrow. But obviously the big show, the big game, Sunday. Not sure if I'm going to do a pregame kind of talk around. I might do a shoot the shit before, like a little pregame, and then we'll go, and after that, it'll be its own little separate kind of thing, and then we'll do the watch along, and we'll all have fun there. Don't forget, Stay Tuned Sports halftime extravaganza will be coming your way at halftime of the Super Bowl, so do not tune out. Want to stay tuned. Stay Tuned Sports for that. So I think that's all the other pertinent stuff away. If you liked anything on this particular broadcast or this show or this channel whatsoever, and I don't know why you would. This is terrible. This is a terrible, terrible place. But if you do, hit that like button, hit that share button, let the world know that we exist. It is a fantastic and wonderful help. And of course, as always, if you haven't done so yet, or you're brand new here, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers and hopefully being monetized here on the great and glorious platform known as YouTube, as we're kind of hovering around that 300 spot. Sometimes we have 300, sometimes we have 299. Either way, that's great, but we're still on the road to 1,000. That is the main goal. So thank you. Crafty in the chat says Lindsey Vaughn will be attempting to ski on a torn ACL. I did see that. She's an absolute dog, and she's also... I can't believe she's 41 now. Like, I feel, again, I'm 44, so, I am old. Because I'm like, I remember Lindsey Vaughn when she was in her 20s. Yeah, you were in your 20s too, you dumb shit. I get it. I know I'm stupid. But I'll tell you what, she's still very easy on the eyes. Unlike this guy. This guy, ooh, face for radio, baby. That's why I always wanted to be in radio. That's why I always wanted to be a radio guy, because I was a little bit of a face for radio. But you know what? Hey, not bad. I'm like a cheap wine. I've aged, not terrible, maybe better than when I was first bottled, but we'll see. Yeah, see, I just sneezed. That means it was bullshit. Whenever you sneeze, it's a lie. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on Stay Tuned Sports for the Friday forecast. I will see you on Sunday for the Super Bowl. Enjoy your weekend up until then, and then really enjoy it when we watch the Super Bowl. And hey, you know what? Take the day off of work on Monday. You know why? Send the message. Whether they do add the 18th game and move everything down a week, so then it does happen on President's Day, so everybody gets the day off anyway, or if we just make the day after the Super Bowl a separate own holiday, let them know. Super Bowl? I ain't coming in, baby. I am not coming in. But thank you so much for joining us here, and we will see you on Sunday. My name is King. This has been a Friday forecast on Stay Tuned Sports. Crafty, thank you for the God bless you. I will see you all on Sunday. Adios.